Hi, hello, good morning. A lot of people ask me why I choose to work with past life regression therapy, whether past lives actually exist or they don't exist, and how are they even useful in a therapeutic process. Why do we need to go back in the past? What is the need to go back and try to see things which have already been lived through, if at all it exists? So the point that I make them is it is impossible, to change your future or even to change your present without referring to your past, without going back to your past. But here we come to the question of past life regression therapy, which means that there is a life that has existed before this particular lifetime. Okay, so when I am doing a session with a client, when a client goes back to a memory which is not from this particular lifetime, we as regression therapists do not discard it as something imaginary, delusional, or something that has no physical or rational grounding. We don't do that. Okay. Now, the reason why we don't do that is because we rather use it for therapeutic release. So, when a client goes back to an experience of reliving a certain kind of life, say someone says that I'm being chased by these people, and my next question is, what do they look like, these people who are chasing you? I think they look like people from the king's court. And my next question is, what have you done that they are chasing you? And the person might say, I think, for example, I have stolen something, or I think um, I'm a poor person, and these people are troubling me. So I tell them that, okay, fine. Now feel what your body feels when you are being chased. How do you feel when these people are chasing you? Oh, I feel great amount of anxiety. And my next question is, where in your body do you feel this great amount of anxiety? And they tell me that, okay, fine, I can, for example, feel the anxiety in my chest. And my next thing is, now allow yourself to feel this anxiety in your chest and see what happens when you run. So basically, I use the practice of the narrative of the story in order to anchor feelings in the person, the feelings that they are presently suffering from. Someone who has come with real anxiety in their chest. Every time they feel that they are on the road, they are being chased by someone, or they are being followed by someone, we shift that anxiety, or we shift that narrative into a narrative where they have probably experienced in a different story altogether, in a different lifetime altogether. Now, the point is, it is not necessary for the lifetime to exist or not exist. For me as a therapist at this moment, the narrative is simply a tool in order to allow the client to feel the anxiety, feel the fear, or feel the sadness, or feel the disgust, or feel the guilt. And by the end of the narrative, there is an objective to also release it from the body. Because again, we come from the school of thought that it's the body that stores everything. The other day I was going through a massage, and my first thing to the massage therapist was to tell the massage therapist that, when you are pressing, you can also ask that, as I am pressing you in this portion of your body, get an impression, what memory or what emotion do you store in this part of your body, and as I'm pressing you more, allow it to release it. So that's the kind of school of thought we come from, that it's the body that stores everything. You have a lot of back pain, isn't it? Like starting from your cervical down your lumbar. And we don't realize that, of course, it is because of our posture, the misalignment of your spine. And at the same point of time, imagine how much of stress, exhaustion, other people's beliefs, emotion, their words, voices, their energies you store in your back. A lot of our own emotions, stressful emotions, are stored in the back. You could feel hyper responsible for something, and that can reflect in the kind of shoulder pain that you know have. You could feel as if you are not being supported enough in your life emotionally, and you may feel it in your lower back, you know, because of course the support has to be there. So every time a person comes with a lack of support, when they tell that, you know, my back is aching, and my next question to them is it your lower back, is it your upper back, is it your middle back? And say, for example, if they say it's lower back, my next question is, okay, tell me one thing, how do you feel about the fact that your lower back keeps on aching? And you know, 99% of the time they tell me that, you know, I feel very unsupported by my own body. And I would ask them that, where else in your life do you feel unsupported? And then I jump to the question is, tell me about your childhood. How supported or unsupported did you feel by your family or by your father? And then we regress back in time. You know, it's not like a lot of people ask me that, you know, do you use hypnosis for regression? And I tell them that, you know, yeah, there are a lot of people who use hypnosis for regression. It is a very good tool. It is a very good induction technique, though it's not something that we need. It's not a necessary tool in order to be able to regress a person back in time. You know, there are a lot of cognitive windows also. You know, one of the cognitive windows is our body. We allow the body to feel what it has not felt by asking these questions like, how do you feel about this condition? Where in your body do you have these feelings? If you close your eyes and if you go deep into those feelings, get an impression, where else in your life have you felt it? Is there an event? Is there an experience? Is there a trauma where you have felt this experience and not processed them? You know, even cognitively, even by simply talking also, you can allow a person to regress back in time. And that's where I come back to the question of past life regression therapy, you know. So, you know, my journey, of course, started with Freud. You know, I think all of us have started our journey with Freud and psychoanalysis. And at least one thing we are clear about the concept of the conscious and the subconscious mind. Now, of course, there are a lot of theorists, hypnotherapists who have theorized that the conscious mind is 8 to 12% and the subconscious mind is 88 to 92%. Anyway, irrespective of that, we at least know that there is something called conscious and there is something called unconscious, and the unconscious is the larger one and the conscious is a smaller subset of the unconscious, right? Similarly, we have something called the collective consciousness and something called the collective unconsciousness. You know, how I explain collective consciousness is, children are aware of the fact that if they go and pick up something from someone's house, it's bad habit or it's moralistically sort of wrong, or it's not. So when they will grow up in life, they will know that, oh, it's lawfully not correct. So concepts like law, concepts like politics, concepts like morality, concepts like dignity, all of these are known to us without being explicitly taught, you know, and that becomes a part of our collective consciousness. Everyone knows about the concept of money, that when you give money, one has to take it, and when they give and one has to, you know, receive it. So these concepts that we live in the world, which we are aware of without being explicitly taught, which we know by hand, already are a part of the collective consciousness. And similarly, there are things which we may not know. For example, 30 years back, if someone told you that if you press a button in a device that you will have in your hand, which I have right now, the mobile phone, and a car would be standing outside your door, no one would have believed it, right? So Uber, Ola was not a possibility in the minds of people 30, 40, 50 years back. Even the idea of this mobile phone, the idea of this video, me talking to you like this, was not a possibility. But did it not exist? It existed. It existed in the collective unconsciousness, and it came down from the collective unconsciousness to collective consciousness when someone thought into it, someone tapped into it, someone tried to plug himself or herself into the collective unconsciousness, either knowingly or unknowingly, either by experimentation or by discovery, you see. So we keep on plugging into these different realities which we may not be aware of, and then we bring these realities into our own reality by allowing it to manifest in some form, and that's what is called the collective unconsciousness, which we are not aware of at this moment, but then which does become a reality when we bring it into our reality. Similarly, even in a session of regression, what happens is people go into different forms of reality, and then I am not concerned with the story of the reality, whatever story they may present. You know, it's like someone telling me the idea of Uber came from God, or the idea of Uber came from a matchbox, or the idea of Uber or a car, or say a phone came from the cloud. The details don't matter to me. What matters to me is how do they feel while they tell the story. Those feelings are important because those are the feelings which have been troubling them, and those are the feelings which need to be released. And I need the story. I need the story of the past life, or of the metaphor, or of the imaginary story, in order to anchor those feelings in the body and allow them to move out of the body, so that by the time we finish the session, the feelings from the body are gone. Okay, so that's my main target, because we don't live in a feeling oriented world. We don't live in a world which asks you how are you feeling, um, which doesn't basically allow you to accept your feelings. We rather live in a thinking world. So we give more importance to our thoughts. What are we thinking right now? Even when I ask many people, how are you feeling? They would start with the line, I think, I should be doing this, and there should be doing that, and this person should be doing this. So everything is thought based in our world, not much is feeling based. In my therapeutic procedure, even the kinds of therapies I teach, everything is feeling based. I always tell them to feel, because thoughts are mental. Thoughts are absolutely mental. Thoughts will never stop. Thoughts are unending. Thoughts are automatic, and thoughts are innumerable. They are infinite, But feelings is something that you will not reach to till the time you are mired in thought. So basically, we go back to the feeling world. I usually have this way of telling people that what are feelings, and I tell them that there are. This was told to me by one of my teachers, and I'm really grateful to her. She told me that there are majorly four kinds of feelings. It's sad, mad, bad, glad. Sad is sadness, mad is of course anger. Glad is of course happiness, and bad could be feeling guilty, or feeling a combination of guilt, fear, and sad. All other feelings like disgust, like shame, humiliation, humiliated. All of these feelings are advanced feelings which come into our world as we grow and as we learn from other people. For example, shame is learned by a baby when the baby learns to sort of the baby just walks around naked, and someone comes and shames the baby, saying that hey, look at you. So the baby becomes aware of its own body, and that's how shame comes. So these are also learned emotions. The basic emotions remain basic. So my idea is to take them back to the core of these emotions, because that's where they have stored all their stories. All their stories and all their details and all their thoughts dissolve when you take them back to the feeling world. And by taking them back to the feeling world, I go back to the body, to the physical body, because it's the body, as I said, stores a lot of emotion. Of course, you come back from a horrible meeting where a fight has happened, your head will start aching, right? So which means your body has stored all of these emotions. And my idea of allowing them to feel it in their body, and then taking them back to a time where it began, be it in this lifetime, be it in an imaginary lifetime, be it in a metaphor, be it in a different lifetime, be it a past life. The idea is to navigate through that emotion, move through it, go to the end of it, release it, and bring adequate amount of catharsis, and then we integrate that part of us which was going through all of this pain. Now it has released that, we integrate that part of us back into this part of us. So that's the idea behind past life regression therapy as a whole. Of course, I will be shooting more videos and doing more videos on past life regression therapy, shortly called PLRT. And I will bring certain concepts of science, rationality, physics, cellular biology also into those videos, but this is the whole philosophy as of now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you. I'll come back soon. Okay.